Hello, we're going to talk about forever frogs about the next 5 minutes. So our task was looking at the dissemination, basically expanding on Holocaust education and going into the future. And so we're looking at essentially the challenges of Holocaust education, specifically from the educator perspective. And a number of the tracks that we recognize, the biggest one is staying current. And we often hear, in my undergraduate work, I did this, I took a class 5 years ago, I read this book whenever, and we know that classroom teachers have a lot on their plate, and with that, sometimes you just don't have the opportunity to stay current with education, which of course then means they're going to be lacking, and of course their students are going to be lacking. So our thought process was to put together a format, not reinventing the wheel, but consolidating the wheel, if you will. We know that the resources are out there, we know that the people are out there, and we know that once we can kind of put those together, it might make things a lot more easier to comprehend. So our biggest need is ongoing learning for educators to address what students don't know. Like all of us, we don't know what we don't know. And then involving the community to make them aware of the gaps that go along with that. So the idea behind this is to create a platform in which we're going to introduce, essentially at the beginning, very base foundation of Holocaust knowledge, if you will. So it'll be rooted in content, context, addressing the gaps, and connections. There's certain things within the Holocaust that should be universal. You should not go to one museum or one site and get two different explanations, and that does happen from time to time. If you walk into a classroom or a school, you might have two teachers at the same time speaking about the same subject, but then they're giving different numbers, or they're giving different locations, or sharing different resources, and we're kind of trying to consolidate that a little bit. So how are we going to do this? We've got two tracks, if you will. Track one, the initial track, is creating a video series. Think of a TED Talk type situation where vetted subject matter experts, historians, both local and abroad, are going to be creating content. This is the only true creation that we're going to be putting together, is creating this initial content for this first video, averaging somewhere to 4 to 7 minutes. The idea is you could take a combination of 4 to 5 to however many you want to build a classroom setting if that's the immediate need that you have, or you can then add on other pieces. The second track is involving students. And so using our first piece as a model, the second track, that it's the student piece, is then engaging them in learning to collaborate within their classrooms with their teachers to create a video that then enhances the product. So the only thing we're going to be creating, again, is those videos, housed on a website. Everything else is linked in. We also incorporate local stories, specifically when we start looking at what does the Holocaust look like in France versus what does it look like in Poland. Paul had mentioned a comment yesterday which kind of stuck with us. What did the Holocaust look like in Nigeria? So those key pieces will get put in as well too. So those videos, everything will be based on a series of 4 pieces: the biography, so testimony, the chronology, time frame, geography, and terminology. Have those common themes embedded throughout. And then when we're building the videos, they would look something like this. This.
Okay, so today we are standing on the grounds of the former camp Auschwitz I, camp that was established in 1940, firstly for Polish prisoners, for the political prisoners who were sent there, for civilians, for members of the resistance movement from Poland. Then other groups were being sent here, so the camp that was supposed to be for 30,000 people was being enlarged constantly. 1942, the second camp, Birkenau, was being built, and that's also the year when Jews started being sent here. So from 1942, Auschwitz concentration camp became also a death camp for European Jews. Auschwitz was liberated in 1945, and the camp that is for 30,000 people came to camp where over 1,300,000 people were sent. Most of them were Jews from Europe who were being sent here to be killed. So most of the victims were Jewish. Like,
so, with that, the impact, transforming the learning experience through active participation, both at the subject matter experts, so we're going to have to kind of step up our game, the classroom teachers, and then finally the students getting involved as well. So we all have that responsibility.
First of all, the power of voice. I love your voice, Todd. I would go in the corridor and I hear your voice, and
I have a face for radio, so we're good.
Exactly. I feel calm. Yeah. No more problems in the world. No Holocaust distortion. No anti-Semitism. Just Todd's voice. Todd's voice. Between Todd and Andreas. I love the concept. Tracks of memory is fantastic. You might be trying to do too much. That was my feeling, or at least now it felt like you want to do everything, and it's not. And my feeling is that at least at the beginning you will have to choose something and start with geographically, or one of doing multimedia and teaching everybody everything might be too ambitious. I mean, I understand the problem. We may have to choose a segment of the problem and then have a segment of the solution, at least at the beginning, or think about a rolling strategy of starting this and then doing this and then doing this, because trying to do all the things all at once might be risky and might be counterproductive. But I totally understand the problem, and I understand all the solutions, but we'll have to choose and prioritize.
Thank you. I really appreciate the concept of speaking about the universal and the local. This is again something that we are all struggling with, and it's important that it's in the base of the project. You started with the problem, which is teachers might be teaching the same things over and over again, and this goes to the question of motivation. Why would they want to be a part of this kind of a project when it actually needs them to relearn and do something else? And we all know that they have no time to start learning new things. So I would put some effort on the question of motivation. Why join this project? And then enjoy it. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess in terms of them, if they're doing the learning themselves, rather than you providing that information. No, we'll be providing. You are providing, sorry, the co-creation. Okay, thank you. The issue of how much, because it's a big subject, right? A big topic. Maybe a way of thinking about that might be to consider what knowledge really matters. What constitutes powerful knowledge? How is it that certain understandings, knowledge and understanding, unlocks different ways of thinking? So you don't have to cover everything, but you focus in on what you consider to be, the really important, say, myths and misconceptions of the past and why they matter.
So the envision that we have for our...
We can chat, but we can chat over lunch.
Okay.
Yeah, we can chat. So one other. So along the lines of myths and misconceptions and why things matter, I mentioned the research that we did in England, this national survey of young people's thinking about the Holocaust. That could be a good starting point, but there's the whole research booklet. But we did some research briefings, which took some clear, common myths and misconceptions. We argued why they mattered, and we tried to give a kind of synthesis of the key historical correction of each of those. It's not exhaustive, but it might be a useful starting point to get you thinking about some of those. I can send you the briefings if that's helpful. Todd, I can see you're bursting to come back.
You have lunch over rice to discuss.
The limitation of 5 minutes.
Neil wanted a quick comment, and yes. Neil, quickly, yes.
For all of us, the issue of incentive is key. Incentive, what's in it for me? Why should people do it? If I will ask you, why are you here? There are several good answers. Because I'm being paid, it's part of my job to be here. Because my boss told me to be here. Because it's a nice time to be abroad. Because of whatever things. Think about the incentives of the participants to participate.
Any comments from any of you? Quick comment, yes.
I know that it was just an example to share with us, but the video was too long, static, and boring.
Thank you.
No, I mean, again, it's a positive comment from my side. Please have a look at what other Holocaust organization institutions are doing on Instagram and TikTok, because the perspective is different, the approach is different. I'm not saying that everybody needs to do TikToks, of course, but if you want to engage children, youth, you have to change your approach.
Thank you. The one thing which is not boring is what Todd does, in addition to being a Holocaust educator, but find that out later. Thank you very much.